2, 3. All right. Hello. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Pulsar Patch Walk and Talk. So I hope you all watched that Modular World video. If you haven't, I'd say check that link below and go ahead and do yourself a favor. It's pretty awesome 3-hour show. Great artists, really cool interview with Vlad, and a very awesome performance from Vlad. And today I just wanted to kind of talk about my patch that I did submitted, and kind of my motivation behind it. So I moved to New Orleans in October of last year, and there are a lot of players here, a lot of people that play like acoustic instruments and real wooden instruments and things, and it got me thinking about my performance style and what I would like to do. And yeah, basically kind of got me wanting to use these touch sensors here and start playing a little bit. So first thing I did was I clocked up the LFO to 0.25 and the sample and hold to 16 to get that ready to go for the bass. I had a kick being sent, a trig being sent to the kick, I should say, from the Octatrack. That's the only thing the Octatrack was doing, was sending that. And I will say the one thing I wish I would have done more with was modifying the kick a little bit more, but that was just to kind of give me a nice tempo, and then you just kind of sync it up and start playing along. So I really like the snare drum to have like a, I found this attack really fun because when you play it with the sensor you get the clap involved, which can really add like a little more dynamic to it. And then with the tune rolled way down and the mix more to the right, I like that crunchy, crazy sound. It's fun. And it helps if you have it in record mode. And I was doing some patching as I was playing, but that was mostly because I didn't want to mess with the sound of the delay. I knew I wanted to use the mad pin, so I didn't want to mess with the mad pin until I got to a certain point. And I'm running the reverb and delay right, should I say right for the red and left there for the blue, out to the Octatrack also. And then that gives me the little stereo. Right now it's not doing anything, it's got the delay on the left and reverb on the right. And the reason I have it set at delay is because I wanted to run the Lyra into the reverb separately and have that affecting its own thing. But, so, the mad pin was being awoken by the 2-bit CVing a switch that is sending 10 volts to it. So the 10 volts is going through a switch. The 2-bit is kind of on its own clock to the sample and hold, which is going to be affecting the bass in a moment here. So basically you get a little more action out of it if you wanted to. There's kind of a sweet spot with this, like sometimes it doesn't quite trigger it how you want it to. That's a little loud, I apologize. But you can finally kind of finagle a sweet spot there on that frequency knob, which doesn't affect the sample and hold because it's being clocked by the 16. And let's go ahead and utilize that now. So the 3-bit is going to go to the CV of this VCA here, and I'm going to send the ground through that VCA. I could just, what I did initially for the patch was kind of have a one note hit. And then not just drop then switch to another. I thought it was fun just to jump to a different pattern, and then just kind of connect this CV that way and then start playing, so you can kind of have the chaos melody that it's producing kind of reveal itself, and you can kind of figure out what kind of pattern you want to give it. Because if I just hold it down, you can hear it's just this. You could do that, listen to it. That's kind of the reason I would want to do the live patching with that, because I want to drop the CV melody in after I kind of establish a rhythm, because then when I go back to this first pattern, it kind of switches it up and almost brings a different kind of melody into it, because it's hitting different notes at different times. And I also was sending, the reason I had the whole LFO synced up even, was to send the triangle LFO. I kind of liked it a little off, so it was kind of a ramp up a little bit. And I like to send it through an attenuator so it's not crazy. It's just really fun to play along with a moving filter like this. I was kind of keeping with the same themes, you know, kind of keeping the same rhythms, and it's also very fun to, in a couple takes, I did do a few takes of this for the submission. I did 4 or 5, honestly, full disclosure, and the one that I submitted was the one before the last one. Actually, the last one was alright, but too long, so it just took me a while to get it down to 7 minutes. I was pretty happy with almost every development, but just had to get in that 7-minute window. But yeah, so sending an inverted LFO to the frequency of this snare drum just kind of adds another different layer to it. And finally what I did, it was a pretty simple patch. I just really like jumping around and messing with the loopers. You could really get lost in that pretty quick. So between that, using the MAD pin, sending the LFO to the snare drum, and just the ground through the VCA to the bass, I just got a fun rhythm. And I kept that, yeah, like I said, I kept that bass drum pretty static. I wish I would have done a little more with that, but we can do that now. So first, before I do that, I want to lastly say thank you to everybody that watched the video, that was participating in the comments of the Modular World. That was really fun. It felt like, I don't know, kind of like we were sitting all in the same room in a way. And yeah, I just really appreciate you. Oh, I do want to say, okay, so one thing that I did do wrong, I for some reason, instead of patching the out of the bass through an attenuator to the reverb, I patched the filter through an attenuator to the reverb, which does nothing. So you see me at one point go, try to like do a cool rhythm with like that click sound, and then I turn this up and nothing's happening. But now something is happening because I did the right thing. And this is what I was meaning to do in the video. So there's supposed to be more bass coming through the reverb to get a little more of that stereo sound from that. So this is what I was kind of going for. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, so heck yeah, y'all. I hope y'all doing well. I really appreciate you being here. I'm gonna go ahead and send the envelope, I suppose, to like, why not try the WTF? Oh, and finally, of course, I had the Lyra going. I can't forget the Lyra. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of going top ahead here. So the Lyra is coming in on 1. So that Lyra's coming in on 1, and I send that through, I think I was sending it in through a switch in the video, but I'm going to send it in through a VCA this time. Let's see what OMG, yeah, that's what I thought. WTF does a little more to it there. So basically, I'm going to use the envelope of the kick. Envelope of the kick to trigger that VCA. And then that VCA is going to go also to the reverb. This might be loud. Apologies. And I used a ditto looper to loop that Lyra. I just did that just now, and I mean it's a different melody and everything, but same idea. No MIDI with that ditto, so it kind of falls out of time. It's a fun thing to keep kind of adjusting as you play though, until I get a MIDI looper. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. That's what we're doing here, and the whole inspiration was just to be able to play and modify as I go, which is the whole inspiration to the Pulsar, I do believe. Performance machine. And I also got into the whole crackly business. If you can get those crackles from turning that tune to the left and that mix all the way to the right, messing with the filter there. Let's do it with the snare drum here. All the cracklies. And then when you have the cracklies and you attach the LFO to the filter, then you can get kind of like filter pings and whatnot so that you can get different sounds out of. You gotta be careful with that though, you don't want to break anything, like your ears. Very easy to get a little too much feedback. I'm probably preaching to the choir about all this stuff, but just showing you where I'm doing. But then when you go back to these, it's going to be a little different, eh? But then for that, you can just kind of bring this up, maybe. Slowly. It's a very delicate game there when you're messing with those filters. Anyway, I hope this made sense. Hope I'm not rambling too much. I don't know if I mentioned this, but if you're using the envelope to CV a VCA for audio going into the reverb or something like I'm doing here, the attack up is pretty, having the attack kind of farther up is kind of important. So if you want a real plucky bass, maybe use something else. The Chaos does cause a lot of clicks and whatnot, so got to be careful with that. I haven't found a solution to kind of ease the envelopes or the attacks of the VCA triggering, so the best way to do it is to use the envelopes from one of the voices, in my opinion. Do what you do, though. I don't, you know, who? Oh, last thing, just to get some, connect the square LFO to the data pin to get a little variation if you want to. Y'all are awesome, really, really awesome, and I appreciate you checking this stuff out. It's such a cool community, and yeah, happy to be here, y'all. I'm just gonna leave this and let it ride out. Have a great week.